Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Dirk, and there's a lot going on out here today. I only have so much time to find to record these podcasts. Duke the dog's barking, the neighbors have chainsaws going, and kids are playing. We live in farm country out here, so that's just what we've got to deal with, and that's you got to take advantage of the moments that you have. It's never going to be perfect, so this is the best I can do. What do you guys think of this hat that I wore in? It doesn't really fit with the headphones on. This is from Brixton. It's a fielder's hat. It's black with a brown leather strap on it. I got this for Father's Day. It's good for working out here in the garden, or when I'm working with the chickens and the goats, or whenever I'm doing anything in the yard, because it gets pretty hot when the sun's out, and it's just nice to have a wide brim hat. They're not everyone's favorite. I don't wear this downtown or whatever. I'll wear a ball cap, but this keeps the sun off my neck and face at the same time. And when it's raining, like I went on a big hike out in the bush with Duke the dog and my brother Dustin, and I wore that hat. Some raindrops fall, you don't even notice. This is a good hat. I like it. It's like I said, it's not one you wear out on the town or whatever, but it's comfy, and I have a really small head. This is a small. It says it's a 56 centimeter. Is that a round? I believe that's a round, right? Not over from top. I mean, I don't really know. Size 7, 56 centimeters. This Brixton hat. Okay, it's got some stuff here. It's 95% wool, felt, 5% leather. So, is this the 5% that's leather? And then 95 wool felt. So that's the rest of the hat. I don't know how they get it to hold the shape that it's got here, but it does, even when I scrump it. My wife got a hat we got her a hat, a black one like this. It's a different style of hat. I think it's more of a bucket shape hat. Black like this, made out of felt, but it holds its shape. It's more like rounded at the top, but it holds its shape. It's stiff. You can't crimp it, or it misforms the shape. But this one here, pick it up, dust it off, comes back to its shape. I like that. Just a random hat there. Once again, I'll say it's Brixton, Brixton. Really good hats. I think my top hat, I got married with a top hat that I think was made from the same company. Really good quality build, that top hat. Love it. Love it. So, yeah, random little thing. It's got a little emblem on it. Little Brixton emblem. I wonder if my wife has that. I didn't notice it till just now when I was putting it down. And it's got a leather strap that comes around just the front and goes down into the hat through these little metal rings, hole loops that they've got into the side of the hat there. And then it comes down and it ties around your neck, or you put it over your chin or under your chin so you can flop the hat back. I like it. I don't know. My brother-in-law's made some jokes or whatever, but it's all in good fun. It's a good hat. I like stuff like that. Like when you're out working, hats and stuff, or wicker hats, this sort of hat. I used to wear a wicker cowboy hat, a Quicksilver one all the time. And then I moved into ball caps, and now I've got that in my ball caps. It's pretty sweet. So, on today I'm going to talk about parenting. If I'm after the hat thing, now we're moving into parenting. It's like there's no easy way or right or wrong way. Well, there is a wrong way to parent, but there is no real right way to parent. You don't want to obviously be abusive or neglective to your kids. That is the wrong way to parent, and you don't want to, I don't know, you don't want to tell people the way their parenting is wrong if they're not doing those sort of things, but because every way of parenting is hard. We have been, you think everything you're doing is right, but when they're little kids, like my little daughter, just about to turn 4, is a bottle of emotions. Just a little emotions come out, screaming, crying, throwing fits. Like yesterday, I want an apple. We give her an apple. She throws the apple in the garbage. I'm hungry. You threw the apple in the garbage. So you can't have anything to eat. I want an apple. I want that apple. She grabs the apple out of the garbage, and it was clean garbage. It was a new bag, so I just picked it out. We washed it. She said she wanted it. It wasn't in any dirt or anything like that. She said she wanted it. I put it on the counter. I go, it's there. I knew she wouldn't want it too. Like, you kind of just play these games. It feels like you put it there knowing she doesn't want it. She takes the apple, throws it back in the garbage. There it stays. I don't want a green apple. I want a red apple. We don't have any red apples. I want a red apple. Ah! You're like, hey, calm down. Like, let's figure this out. Look, you're saying you're hungry. We have a green apple. Do you want the apple or not? You can have an apple or a yogurt. I want a red apple. I don't want a green apple. I don't want, and it's one of those fights you're never going to win. She doesn't even understand. Afterwards, I was snuggling her because it built up into a big cry and screaming match, and we're like, what do we do? Like, calm down, like, blah, blah. I don't know what the right method is to handle those situations, but the target is to get her calm because she's escalating, and as a parent, I know it's really hard not to escalate myself. But if she comes at me at a certain level, if I step it up, she's also going to try to match or go higher than my level. So if she starts off, no, and I go, hey, you don't say no. And she goes, no. Do you know what I mean? It becomes a push and pull battle of who has control. The real thing is to step back and try and diffuse the situation and get energies calm and stuff. So I did that. She's crying. I'm cuddling her, and I go, what's going on? And she'll go, I don't know. Why are you yelling? I don't know. Why are you crying? I don't know. And then you're like, okay, just rest on the couch. And then she comes up. She starts crying. I love you, Daddy. And, it tugs at your heartstrings a little bit. You go, I love you too, sweetheart. It's fine. Let's calm down or whatever. But the battle itself just drags out, and, you correct one scenario, and it feels like you're just diving into another scenario. It's hard to have a method and stick to it. It's hard not to lose your temper as an adult. I'm trying to keep mine together and keep it calm, and you get the baby to sleep, and then they wake the baby up, the 2 older kids, and the baby's, you spend so much time trying to get them to sleep, and they need their sleep, and then they're upset, and they're crying, and they need to be held or fed, and then the kids want to play with you, and they're jumping, and then they're throwing, and then, your son's hitting your daughter, and she's screaming for help, and you go in, you intervene, you got to put the baby down, baby starts crying. It's crazy. It's crazy. Kids can be a little crazy, but it's, like, we've noticed that, when our kids get crazy, they need to go outside. So we just take them out quick and just get their boots on and get them out if it's not raining. And you'll see that their energy and demeanor just changes. It drops away. It's not as I don't know, like they've got more space and more things to interact with outside that can just draw their attention, that stops them from escalating. And so, but yeah, it gets hard. I have a hard time. I follow some groups of parenting on Facebook and dads with daughters, and I have to say that those guys are all pretty supportive, and everyone's going through their own stuff. There are things I'm not going through that other people are going through, and I think that there's no right answer. Everybody's going to give you advice, try this, try that, but they're not living in the situation. They're not understanding all the they're not understanding everything that's going on. Variables. They don't understand all the variables. Wow, can't speak. They don't see everything, and it's hard to explain even now in front of that camera and talking to you guys. It's hard for me to explain everything that's going on that causes the frustration. And kids are going full tilt, it feels like, and then they have big crash. And then they have a rest time, and then they go full tilt and have a big crash. But if you don't utilize their energy in the day, and then they have a pumped up amount of energy, but also they're tired, so like it's bedtime, you haven't really burned out their energy, they can still feel like they're gonna go, like their body still wants to run and go, but their brain is like, it's time to shut down, and there's conflicting interests between the brain and the body. And that's when I notice that we get some big, like, bedtime meltdowns. Like, maybe we didn't do enough with them today, physically. Kids are physical beings. They're all over. When I go out and get the eggs in the morning, I take the kids and we go in the goat pen. I've got a trailer that's got tires on the tongue that keeps the back end up, and then I've got logs stacked up in like cut-offs from a tree stacked up in staircase to the back of the trailer, and the goats jump on it and the kids jump on it, and the kids will load that up with sticks and stuff and unload it, and as soon as I'm out there in the pen, the kids are physically active. Kids are meant to be active, man. I can't keep up with them. Luckily I've got space. I don't know how people are doing it with kids in apartments. Like, hats off to them. What a tough thing to do. I know I've got a long way to go as a dad, and learning, and hopefully raising my kids right. And it'll be a learning experience. Well, I think this will be the biggest learning experience. As they get older and become their own person, the plan in place is to let them experience life. Between me and my wife, we talked about how we wanted to do. I want them to experience life and develop who they're going to be. And I want to get them involved in things they want to be. I want them to believe that there are no limits for them. I want them to believe that they can be whatever they want. So, for example, like if my daughter decides, yeah, one day I want to open a coffee shop or whatever, say she's in high school, 14, 15, 16, whatever, decides maybe she wants to try and open a coffee shop. Like, I'm going to sit down with her and be like, okay, you're serious about this? Let's do some research together. Where do we start? How do we put a plan in place? First thing, I think you should get some experience. Let's see if we can't call around and drop off some resumes and get you working at a coffee shop, or maybe even try a couple coffee shops to see what you like about them, and figure out if that's an environment you feel comfortable working in. Because after you get experience doing something, you may change your mind whether or not you want to do it. And then I'm going to teach my kids that their first job is not, doesn't have to be everything. She wants to do coffee shop, she does it for 4 years, sells the coffee shop, whatever. I think it's my job as a dad to just get them started off of the right track. I personally think, for me, I didn't jump into anything right after school. I just kind of lingered for years and years trying this, that, never really being on top of my game, never really having a skill set or the know-how of doing stuff. I didn't really have coaching to help me get to get in front of things after high school. So I would love to know what people have done to help their kids best when they were leaving high school, coming into the world, coming into adulthood. I'm always nervous about getting into hard drugs or alcohol or running away or whatever, right? Like, I'm always worried about the problems that can happen to someone's life. Because after a certain age, like, your kids, they don't know everything, but they know that they are their own person, and that's a reality. And as a parent, I need to recognize at a certain age, even now, my children are their own people. And right now with my kids, my problem is that I talk to my oldest daughter like she's already 13. Like, the expectation that we have, because we have younger kids, is that she's older which isn't true, and it's unfair to her. So I'm trying to coach myself to be like, she may be the oldest child, but she's still a young child. It can be tough to get yourself in the mindset when you're dealing with a baby, and then my son who's only 2, and we all know what happens when they go into the 2s. They call it the what do they call that? The crazy 2s or whatever. Man, why can't I think of that? Terrible 2s. Wow, that was a struggle for me. They have the terrible 2s, but that really, like, it's not terrible 2s. It's just that they've become a person, like that can physically decide to make decisions on their own. Even before that, they can, but going into 2, independence really starts to sink in. And I want my kids to be independent. I've really pushed that. That might be why my daughter is comes in hot on everything, comes in with fire on everything. My son, he's a little bit more relaxed, takes things in, kind of looks at things, evaluate things, takes his time. My daughter comes in hot. But, when they're in their teens, now I don't really know except for my own experience, but I mean, they're going to do what they want to do, whether you know that they're doing it or not. I would rather know what's going on in their life, so I'm hoping to keep a strong line of communication with myself or my wife. And, sometimes kids don't want to talk to their parents. I get that. And you got to draw a line between being their friend and being their parent. I've got to be stern on things that are right and wrong, and things that I will tolerate in my home and things that I won't. And I also have to, I also can't be the bully dad or whatever, or just the dad. My dad draws a hard line. Like, I need to be, I need to be someone they can talk to with and be comfortable talking to, and also be the person that draws the hard line or sets the standard of what's acceptable and what's not. It's going to be hard to be both those people, and I don't think it's up to any one parent. If you're a single parent, that's kind of the game you have to play. Me and my wife, plan to be together forever, so we'll work as a team, but there's no good cop, bad cop. We both have to be doing both parts, so it'll be interesting. And I think that schooling's going to be interesting, COVID came in and everybody moved on to online stuff. Kids are all learning things online, and I know kids that have accelerated online. They get up, they knock out their schoolwork because they have other things they want to do. They're doing good. They're passing. They're figuring other things out that they want to put their time into. I like that aspect of doing things from home. Get the basics of schooling done. If it's just you at home, you don't have to deal with any of the other questions and conversations that are happening in school and all this other stuff that's going on, going from class to class, all this other time-killing stuff like that may happen in school. You can get in there. These are your subjects. You're at your table, and if a kid really can sit down and take it in, they can knock that stuff out, submit it, and then get on with things that they really want to focus their energy to, maybe what they want to be when they grow up, or sports and activities, whatever that may be. I think that having your kids in that environment could be beneficial in that way, that they can do the work, move on to other things. Hard thing about having kids working from home is, number one, a parent, an adult has to be there. If you're both working, how is that sustainable? You can't just abandon your kid every day and then you don't know if they're getting the work done or whatever. It's hard to keep up with. You got to email the teachers, etc. It's ideal to have a parent at home while they're doing that, and have to be there at home under a certain age. 2, not all kids can buckle down on that online schooling. I myself probably could not have done it. I could not have done it. I don't learn that way. I don't understand. I need to ask a lot of questions in order to figure things out. So I could not have done online schooling, and there's lots of people who during the COVID thing had struggled, and that's why they decided to open some schools up, I believe. Things were safe, open some up here in BC, get some kids back in, do a trial on what's going on, do a trial run on what's going on maybe in September, and then also get those kids that are really struggling some face-to-face help. And I know that there's video to communicate through nowadays for teachers to contact students in email and stuff. But nothing explains, and nothing can help you explain the problem like face to face. I remember in school when I had face to face help, it made a big difference. Like the person there, parents are supposed to be there to do that. I get, but to be honest, I think a lot of parents are reading the stuff that their kids are learning and go, I don't know how to do this either. You know, I think that there should be some other things in schooling. Math is important, even though, a lot of math you're never going to use when you're going to grow up. If you don't know math or even have the basics on how to operate math, you won't even know how to use your calculator. Math is a must, and I get it. I use it more than I ever counted on, on my day-to-day life in high school and middle school. It was like, what am I going to use this for? Well, now I use that stuff without even knowing that I'm doing it. If I really sat down and thought about all the times I was trying to calculate and figure out problems, happen lots, happens daily. Wow, I'm struggling talking. You can tell that I struggle in school, especially in my speech, apparently. So, but I think the future is going to move into this sort of interaction. Like imagine being able to have a program in place where a teacher filmed themselves like I am with a mic, with the problems, explained, maybe a whiteboard or a chalkboard, explains what's going on in the video for the subject, for the whatever you're learning, the subject that you're learning. They submit it to their web page or whatever, and the kids log in, they watch the video, they understand the work they need to do. They can rewind the video to see where the teacher is explaining how to do what, and then they can do all the work, and then they can send it off through an email or whatever. So I believe that, that maybe that's the future. Maybe teachers are filming their self, filming the work, each subject. They upload the subject from home. They have an office at home. Send it to the students, or upload it so that the students in their class can access it. They all have an account. They sign in. They see the work. They hand it in. And then they email it in, and then the teacher can mark it at home, and then there's no going to school. That still doesn't solve the problem of having to have a parent there at home. Like in today's society, it's a dual income environment. I'm like somehow making it off single income, and there are still a few people that make it off single income. But even if you can afford to make it off single income, not everybody wants to be a teacher at home or a stay-at-home mom. People have dreams and careers of their own. Be a stay-at-home dad. That guy's got dreams. That lady's got dreams. They all want to be something when they grow up, and not all of them is a stay-at-home parent. So where do you find the balance in that sort of environment? That's why schools are important. It's not like a babysitting. Like people get the idea of school maybe being a babysitter, but that interaction is important, and it also gives the ability to maybe go out and provide a better life. 2 incomes. Even if you could afford to do things on 1 income, you can do more with 2 incomes. Provide a different environment. Put your kids in sports, etc. Right? Speaking of sports, with kids, like my plan is to get kids in sports. I wasn't in any high school sports, even when I went to school in California, where like the sports are big there. People, they're pumped, in the States for school spirit and high school rallies and activities and sports that they're involved in. That I just, it can be here in Canada in some places, but it's not like it is in the States. Like when I went to the football games there in high school, it was amazing. Cheerleader competitions, water teams or swim team, etc. I know we have those things in schools here, but like when I was in California, I've not seen anything like that here. I've been to multiple schools across the country. Never have I seen what they are doing in the States when it comes to sports and activities for kids in schools. That's my own personal opinion on that. I know we have hockey here, and I know people are very involved in sports, but not all kids. And I think that every kid, even if they're not athletic, needs to have band, sports, etc., some sort of activity to drive them home, to give them an outlet of a focus on. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're I didn't have anything in school to latch onto, or in my life as an adolescent to latch onto, to make me focus, to make me buckle down, to make me want to succeed. I didn't have any of that. I had nothing to succeed for, to try for. And I think it's important to give those things to your kids. And that's stuff like band, sports teams, whatever, swim teams, the gym, exercising, archery, chess club, whatever it is. I would love to see like lots of these in-depth programs come into place for kids. And I know that I'm saying it again. I know that though they're out there, I have to really dive in to see what they are. Like, there's a great. I see the kids here in Duncan in the Cowichan Valley playing soccer and stuff. And I don't know how involved the schools are with that. I know that my wife, when she was in school here in the Cowichan Valley, felt even though she was part of teams, was very left out as one of the team members, and she was very. I think she did almost all of her track and fields, and she did lots of school sports. And when she talks about it, she feels like she had to do more solo sports because if she did group sports, she'd get left out. And in the States, it's not like they're a team. They're the rally. I never heard that from anyone any of my friends that did that stuff in the States. And I have friends that I went to school with in California that were like into the football, into lacrosse and baseball, and it just is a part of their lifestyle. They get up at 6 a.m. They do before practice or training. They end up in class at 8. They do all their schoolwork, and they want to do a good job so they can stay involved in their sports. Then afterwards, they practice more for their sports, and they get together with the team, and they come up with drills and plans. I never found that here. Maybe that was me and my experience. Tell me if if you had a different experience. I'd love to know. Here in Canada, I did not have that experience. I did not have an outlet or something to give me the drive to succeed when I went to school here in Canada. And I think that's important. That's something I'm going to look for in my kids. Like if my daughter says she wants to play violin, okay, what are the steps? You're going to sign up for violin. I expect this season that you attend every class. If it's not your thing, after this season, you can find something else. Same with like, oh, I want to try hockey. Do hockey for the season. Don't like it. Let's keep looking for something that you're into. Don't give. My mindset is don't give your kids a reason to sit at home, and don't give your kids a reason to be doing nothing downtown, and don't give your kids a reason to just be neglected or get away. Keep them busy. That's my thought. Like, I want to keep my kids busy. I want to keep them active. I want to keep them driven. I didn't have that growing up. I was not driven. I was not. Was not involved with anything. I didn't have football or baseball. I wasn't a part of it. I should have taken advantage of it when I was in California. When I went to Sonora High in Sonora, California, just around, I think it's just inland from Modesto there if you want to Google map it. When I went to school there, I should have taken the opportunities in front of me. I should have joined the football team. I wish I had. I didn't do any of that stuff, and I have no idea why. At that time, I was 14. My life had already been kind of like I didn't do that stuff. I was behind the game. I didn't play sports as a child much, so I didn't have the skill set starting at a young age. So, but I could have gone in with no skill set and learned it very quickly. I was very athletic, so I should have just done it. But I don't know why I didn't. And I think that for me as a parent, for my kids, is to help my kids find something to be a part of. This is all just my own personal opinion. I'm about to wrap it up here, but just a full disclosure, this is all my very own personal opinion. These are my thoughts, my rant. This is why this podcast, this YouTube, is called Dirk's Diaries. It's what's going on in my brain. I'd love to hear what's going on with you guys. Go ahead, leave comments, tell me, whatever. I want to know what worked, what didn't work. There's no right or wrong way with kids, and I don't know what I've got 3, and I'm none older than 4. I'm figuring it out. So I think there's lots to be shared between us, and with the modern technology and the way things are, there's no reason we all can't share the right and wrong information and try things. I have to let myself take in information. Sometimes I can be stubborn if someone says you should try this. I'd be like, and fight against it because it's not what I'm doing. I need to be open to suggestions and try things because it's not in the benefit of me. When someone's giving me a suggestion for my children and it's positive, they're not trying to tell me to do something. They're trying to give me a suggestion that may better something for my kids. I need to think about it as something for my kids and not an attack against myself. I cannot take it personally. Someone keeps telling me that. Don't take it personally. I have to learn to do that. I feel like I'm still a child learning. Hopefully I can put these lessons into my kids' heads as they grow up so that they can be strong adults, because who knows what the future is going to look like. From my childhood to now, it's a completely different world. Now that COVID and stuff happens, people are saying it's going to be a completely different world after this. Who knows what happens between now and my kids' 30s. The world could change again. So we need to build strong children, adaptable children, motivated children. I think that's my thoughts. Anyways, guys, thanks for checking in, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.